Hi, my name is Laureen Barnum. I've been attending Gateway my whole life. I was raised in the church. I left shortly to go to university. And then ever since I've been back, we've been attending Gateway. I'm married to Mike. We have 2 kids. We live in East Abbotsford and we farm with my family. I've been raised to know Christ as my Savior. I've been raised in the church. I've had that privilege. There have been experiences in my life where I get to see Him more and see His hand in my life. One of which was on November 11th, 2009. It's a date that's become known as the accident in my life. So on November 11th, I was in my second year of university in Guelph. I was just north of Toronto. I was driving and I was hit head-on in the driver's corner going about 80 kilometers an hour. I was airlifted to St. Michael's in Toronto, bleeding from the nose and ears. They gave me a Glasgow scale score of 6 out of 15, which translates to a severe, or in Ontario terms, catastrophic brain injury. And at that point, they didn't really know much else. So for that first month, I have no memories. My memories start early December when I was at the G.F. Strong Rehabilitation Hospital in Vancouver. They're pretty foggy, not gonna lie. But what I remember most is I wanted everything to go back to normal. I wanted to be back to what was normal, what normal I'd created. Back to university, I knew how short university time is. So I focused very hard on just getting better. And what I could see was the physical side. I couldn't walk. My left side was totally unresponsive. My brain and my left side were not connecting. So balancing and learning to move my arms and my legs were totally something that I had to relearn, but those were slowly improving. So that's what I could see. That's what I could focus on, was reteaching that left side how to work. And I had all the affirmation from the therapist at the time that things were getting better. What I couldn't see was the cognitive side. I had a very, very flat affect, inability to show or express any emotion, a very slow processing speed, lack of reasoning. That's just a short part of the laundry list. I'll stop there. But I couldn't see that. One of my goals post-accident was to run a half marathon. And I think it was 5 or 6 years after the accident, I did that. So it's hard to picture my life without Christ in it. What I know about myself is that I'm very determined, I'm very competitive and goal-driven, so I always want to do more or achieve more. I think without Christ in my life, it would just be an endless cycle of that and a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, because I'd always be reaching for something else and to be more in everything I do. Having Christ in my life gives me confidence and peace in who I already am, so that I can still be that determined person, I can still be goal-driven, but know that I have Christ and He knows that I'm already enough, I've already done enough. And my goal here is ultimately to live out His plan and to show His love to others. So if that's my ultimate goal, then my other goals are just bonuses. One of my favorite verses that I look back on a lot is Romans 12 verse 2, specifically the second half when it talks about being transformed by the renewing of your mind, to be able to test and approve God's will, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. To me, that's so cool, that He's telling us that we've been created with this ability to transform our minds, to renew our minds, to choose where we learn and what we learn in, and that all of it is for His will. It's so comforting to know that that's why we get to do it. It's not so that we can achieve more or do more in my very competitive personality way. It's all for God's will, and that gives me a lot of confidence to be who I am, because I'm here to live out His will and do everything for Him. So the role of Gateway has obviously changed in my life. I'm very thankful for Gateway as a community. Just the prayer army that they formed around us. I still get to hear stories from people that I never really knew before, or still I'm not close with, but I get to hear about how they prayed for me, or even up until recently how they're still praying for me through all that. And that's very special to me, to know that I have such an army around me of people I know, people I don't know, and that army of prayer has just, yeah, really lifted me up to Christ, and I really want to thank everyone in Gateway for that. The times I do remember at GF Strong, like those foggy memories in that first month coming in, I remember I always had someone beside me, whether it was my mom, my dad, my family, or even friends from church that were always coming to visit, or just my mom was always by my side, and just, yeah, I'm thankful for that, my immediate community, and then the extended community that was praying for that immediate community through all of that, because that's what kept me going too. Like, I look back on that time, and that time for what it would have looked like for my family and for myself. I wasn't really all there, so I don't remember it well enough, but if I look back on it, I could see it as being incredibly lonely. So if what I'm encouraged by now, and if I can encourage others, is to see anyone going through that time to be just a voice to that person, or a card to that person, or an invite to that person when times allow, in addition to praying for them, because prayer is so important, and I'm so thankful that I had that surrounding me. But it's one aspect that we can build upon, and that I do my best to build upon with my family, so it's a family thing. I am Laureen, and that's my God story.